Yo, what's good? What's good? It's your boy Kelvin with Behind the Bench. Salute to everyone out there in social media world. Hope y'all had a good holiday. Hope y'all blessed. Hope your family's blessed. Hope you ate as much as you can eat. And hope everything's well with you and yours. Give a salute to the other guys in the group. Shad, JB, Jermaine. Check out their videos. Like, subscribe as we continue to try to grow this channel and have some fun. All right, so do a little different topic. The topic is going to be your top 5 favorite hip hop albums. On my way home, I was listening to throwback classic album they just re-released. It was Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style, like the 30th year anniversary. They re-released it because there was a song on there that got removed back in the day. It's called G's Up, Hoes Down. There was a sample that wasn't cleared by Ozzie Hayes, and that's actually a great song. And they put it back, so I was listening to it, and I was like, man, Snoop back in the day was the shit. And I don't know what happened, man. He fell off. Fell off musically, you know what I'm saying? But this is a great, great album. So I was just thinking, what are people's top 5 favorite albums? Just some, random topic. So put in the comments, what are your 5 favorite albums? I'm going to list mine real quick. And, these are my personal 5. And y'all let me know what y'all got. All right. My number 5 is going to be Geto Boys, Grip It on the Other Level. As we know, Geto Boys is a group out of Houston, Texas. My personal favorite hip-hop group of all time. This album here is kind of like their first album that kind of put them on the map. I know a year after they had the big single, Mind Playing Tricks on Me, but this was the album before then. And it's my number 5 because this is one of the first albums I ever bought. Now, as a kid, I grew up, I heard hip-hop in the 80s, the mid-80s and stuff like that, mid to late 80s out of New York. But I was young. Of course, growing up, you ain't had no money to buy albums and stuff like that. I saw the videos. I heard, excuse me, I heard the New York artists on the radio and stuff, and I like their stuff. But this album here is my number 5 because it's one of the first albums that I ever bought. And I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of gritty street stuff, raw stuff on there. But it's also some funny songs on there. I think the funniest song is Read These Nikes by Willie D. As we know, Willie D is he has a YouTube channel, and he's a hilarious guy. And this is a hilarious song. And he talks about getting into a fight, and when he knocks a dude out on the ground, he uses Nikes to kick him, and it's a hilarious song. And he has they have other great songs, Let a Hoe Be a Hoe, and all that type of stuff. Talk about women and stuff. But it's my number 5 favorite album. Number 4, UGK, Riding Dirty. Another Southern Texas group. They from Port Arthur. Pimp C and Bun B. As we know, Bun B nowadays is the hamburger guy, the Trill Burgers. But, before then, he was a hip-hop artist. This is considered their best album. It's a great album, Southern classic. I think my favorite song on this album is One Day. It's the very opening song where they talk about one day you're here and the next day you're gone. So you need to take life very serious. Enjoy your family, friends, loved ones, because we never know when it's going to be your last breath. A lot of great songs, Diamond in the Wood, 3 in the Morning, Murder. Great song, great album, great Southern hip-hop album. If you like Southern hip-hop, younger fans, and you haven't heard this album, go back and check it out. Classic. UGK, Riding Dirty. Number 3, for me, Nas. I want to go with Nas, Stillmatic. Now, I know most people, when they think of Nas, they think of Illmatic, which is his first album. And I do believe it's his best album. Or they think of It Was Written, which is also a great album. But my personal favorite Nas album is Stillmatic. This is an album where he came out after he was attacked by Jay-Z. They had the whole beef with Jay-Z. Jay-Z at the time was the top of the chain for his rap, and he had dissed Nas with his song called Takeover. And Nas was kind of at a low point because he just released a bad album with Nostradamus. So everybody thought, oh man, Nas is finished or whatever. So he came back. He came back with a vengeance with Ether. He dissed Jay-Z, killed him so bad that Ether has now become like a cultural word in everyday life. Yo, you got Ether, man. Stuff like that. Stillmatic, the intro is one of the greatest intro songs of all time. There's one mic on there, and there's also one of my favorite Nas songs ever. As we know, Nas is a great storyteller, but his greatest storytelling song to me is a song called Rewind. And what Rewind means is he rapped this song in the story backwards. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Amazing song. Nas, amazing lyricist. I listened to this album, I don't know how much over the years. It's my personal favorite. I'm not saying it's his best, but it's my personal favorite. So my number 3 is Nas Stillmatic. My number 2 is going to be Ice Cube, Death Certificate. This is an album he released back in 1991. One of the great storytelling albums. There was this whole debate a few months back with Ice Cube and Biggie, and people were talking about Ice Cube was not a great storyteller. And I was like, what? What are you guys talking about? Death Certificate, most of this album is a story. It's a story about growing up in Southern California and just life on the streets, life in gangs, and just everyday life growing up in California. I think my favorite song on this album is called Alive on Arrival. It is a very funny song. It's a song about where he gets shot and he has to go to the county hospital. Now we know the county hospital is for the people who don't have insurance or grew up in the hood that's poor. So he had to go to the county hospital. He talk about how rough the nurses are with him, and then when he gets to the hospital, the police come asking him a question. And he's like, "Man, I'm bleeding and about to die. Why y'all asking me who shot me?" How incompetent the nurses and the doctors are. Great storytelling song, funny. It's another song on there called "Giving Up the Nappy Dugout." It's another funny song where we talk about meeting this girl, sleeping with her, and stuff like that. But there's also some serious songs on there, about growing up in the streets and stuff like that. Great album. Of course, the album ends with one of the greatest diss songs of all time, No Vaseline, where he disses NWA. As we know, Ice Cube was originally in the NWA. He left because of financial reasons. And NWA, on their second album, they dissed Ice Cube. So Ice Cube, responded with No Vaseline, and, he killed the NWA. That was effectively ended them. And No Vaseline went down in history as one of the greatest diss songs of all time. And this is a great, great album. A lot of great stories about just life in the West Coast. A kid growing up on the West Coast. If you haven't heard it, check it out. That's my number 2. And my number 1, it's probably always going to be my number 1. It's going to be Dr. Dre, The Chronic, the original Chronic, not the 2001, but the original Chronic. This album, Dre dropped. This is the first, I believe it was the first album on Death Row. This is when Dre left NWA and Ruthless Records with Eazy-E. He went with Suge Knight, and this is the first album they released. The production on this album was trend-setting. It's that G-Funk, and still to this day, I think it's probably the best produced hip-hop album of all time. If you listen to the album now, it still sounds great. Great classic songs. The classic song with Snoop, G-Thing, Let Me Ride. Dre Day was a diss song to Eazy-E and Luke. Just a great album. Great production on the album. Introduced Snoop to the world. Snoop got to showcase himself. And, of course, like I just talked about earlier, Snoop came out with Doggy Style, which was another great album. He had Daz, and he introduced all the people that's gonna be on Death Row, and just a flawless album. To me, this is the greatest hip hop album of all time. For me, some people may disagree, but that's just my personal opinion. And this is my number one as far as favorite hip hop albums. Yep, and that's gonna be it. So type in the comments what you guys' 5 favorite hip hop albums are. Love to hear it, and I'll respond. And never forget, stay true to what you believe. And my name is Kelvin. We're Behind the Bench, and I'm out. Y'all be good.